this is Linda Vitti from Linda Vitti's Life Coaching and Counseling, and I want to talk to you today about trauma and trials. Now, those of us that have been through trauma, a lot of times we have PTSD or CPTSD in response to that trauma, and so if trials come up, it can pose a unique challenge for us. So there's so many different types of trials that it would be hard to categorize everything into one video. But for the sake of time and for the sake of this video, we're gonna talk about everyday trials or fairly small to large trials. Small to large. What does that leave in between, right? Medium trials? Anyway, we're not going to talk about major traumas or major trials where it's death of a family member. It is something huge happening that you absolutely have no control over. We're going to talk about daily trials and, trials that can impact us when we don't expect them to happen. So let's say, for example, that you have CPTSD and your car breaks down. And you find out that it's going to cost more money than you have to fix it, and you're not sure what you're going to do about it. Now, the first thing that's probably going to come across your mind is, I feel helpless. I don't have a vehicle. I don't have a way of getting around. I don't have money to get my vehicle fixed. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we go into helplessness and shock, kind of. When we went through trauma, especially if we went through childhood trauma, and I talk about this a lot, it predisposes us to feel helpless and not know what to do. And so that's kind of how our neurological system and our body developed over time as children. Is when those things happened, we felt helpless and hopeless and not knowing what to do, and we had no power, no control. And sometimes, depending on the situation, we can have that feeling rise up in us again. And so people always ask me, why do people with PTSD and CPTSD get so bent out of shape about little things? And it's not so much that we get bent out of shape or emotional about little things, though that can be a natural body response for someone with those conditions. It's that it causes our bodies to respond. It causes us to go into panic, into hypervigilance, into, oh my goodness, what is going to happen next? What's going to become of me? It's almost like a primal fear that people who haven't been through those types of traumas do not get on a regular basis. Yes, they may get upset. They might say, okay, this is an inconvenience. This stinks. I'm going to have to budget. I'm going to have to do A, B, or C. And they may not be happy about it, but they don't have the same body emotional response that those of us with those disorders do. So, that being said, with that case scenario, with the trial coming up, whether it's, the car broke down, you lost your job, you lost a client, you lost a friend, you had some kind of mishap with a credit card, or the television broke, or, any kind of daily trials that can come into our life, we get this split-section emotional response where it's almost we go into panic automatically. Like it's a fear, it's a primal fear, and it causes an emotional response in us. So it may take us a little bit longer to calm ourselves down and to look at the complete situation, look at what all our options are, figure out what we do have control of and what we can start working towards in order to combat this trial or deal with this trial or figure out a way to help what's going on. So the first thing I would say in in this situation with trials is give yourself a few minutes to come to grips with it. Give yourself a few minutes to understand what's happening with your body, what's happening with your mind, what's happening with your emotions, and that some of it is an automatic response that you have no control over. And we don't want to just feed into the panic. We don't want to feed into the fear, because that's going to make the emotional response bigger. It's going to make our thinking less rational. It is going to make our ability to cope and to deal less effective. And so the first thing we want to do is understand what is happening in my body, what is happening in my mind, what is happening with my emotions. Where is this coming from? This is not just because my car broke down. This is not just because the TV set broke. This is not just because I don't have the money to fix it. It's not just because. It's other things that have happened in the root of that. In other words, okay, what happened when you broke a toy when you were a kid? Did you get hit? Did you know you were in trouble? Did you know if you were going to get punished in an irrational way? Did you have any idea what could possibly happen? And if the answer is you had no idea what could possibly happen, then the panic makes absolute sense, doesn't it? Makes absolute sense why we panic, why we get emotional, why we respond the way we do. And so we can say, okay, and I have a video on inner child, so here's where you can put your inner child work into effect. You can say, okay, I understand my body's responding. I understand the little girl in me is freaking out because she doesn't know what to expect. She doesn't know what's going to become of her, and she doesn't feel safe. And so the adult me can say, okay, this is unfortunate, this really stinks, but it's not the end of the world, and we can deal with this. We can handle it. Now I need you to calm down. I need you to relax. I need you to just take a breath, and let's think this through together. So that's how you get in touch with your body, your mind, your emotions, your inner child, and the root of what is triggering the response that is so great. Okay? The second thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out a pen and a piece of paper. Yes, I know it sounds silly in the midst of panic, in the midst of craziness, in the midst of your body freaking out. We're going to pull out a piece of paper and we're going to start writing down solutions. We're going to start writing down options. We're going to start writing down all of the things that we have at our disposal to try and sort through and think through as far as what can we do, how can we budget for it, how can we ask for help, how can we figure out a way to be okay in the meantime as far as financial or transportation or whatever it is, whatever the trial is. I'm using the one trial we used at the beginning just for the sake of not going through too many different scenarios. So if we're sticking with the original scenario, we're going to say, okay, what is the trade-in value of my car? Is it worth getting fixed, or is it worth trading in and buying something less expensive that I could maybe get a lease on? Is there someone I can ask for rides? Is there someone I can call to lend me a car? Is there something I can do here? And we're going to write all of these brainstorming ideas out. Because what that does is while your body is calming down and while your emotions are calming down, it's giving you outlets to think rationally and to start looking at solutions rather than just the immediacy of the problem. Because just looking at the problem is just going to make us more frantic, is going to make us more fearful, is going to make us more panicky. So we want to work through all of the solutions that we possibly can for this particular trial. And there's so many different trials on a daily basis. Some can be super, super small that just irritate us, and some can be pretty impactful to our daily life. And we really have to find a way to come up with solutions. And when your body is panicking, when your mind is panicking, when your emotions are panicking, it's hard to do that. So that is the second thing we're going to do. We're going to sit down with a piece of paper or our computer, and we're going to come up with solutions. Once we do that, we are going to put that paper away for a minute, and we're going to do something for ourselves. Do something as far as self-care. If this is an immediate situation where you have to be on the phone, you have to be doing things, you have to get on top of this immediately, you don't have even 5 minutes to do self-care, I'm going to say put the paper down for a minute and do deep breathing. Put the paper down for a minute and do muscle relaxation. Put the paper down for a minute and do stretching. Put the paper down for a minute and do a short imagery. Do something just to give your body and your mind a little more calmness, because these trials really, we can walk through them in an hour-long time and not realize how badly they've impacted our emotions and our mind and our body. So this is why this is going to give you a scenario for every time you have a trial. You're going to think of this. You're going to think, okay, A, B, C, D, I got to do it. So we're getting in touch with our mind, our body, our emotions, our inner child, and we're understanding where it comes from. We're digging to the root. Then we're picking up our piece of paper, our computer, and we're brainstorming solutions. We're brainstorming ideas. We're brainstorming things that could possibly fix or help the situation. Then we're doing either a half hour or a minute of self-care, whatever you have time for. Okay, next, I want you to take another deep breath and figure out step number 1. What is the first thing I can do without any ramifications for the decision process? What is one thing I can do for this situation? And just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And then put down step 2. Okay, maybe tomorrow or tonight I can call so-and-so and I can check on this or that. Put that down. And so forth and so on. And this way, you will be in touch with what's going on inside of you. You will be brainstorming solutions. You will be taking care of yourself and not forgetting how your body and your mind and your emotions feel with the self-care. And then you can start rationally putting down what you need to do in order to combat this trial or combat this situation. So these are the basic steps for any time you go through a daily trial and you've suffered with PTSD or CPTSD because of trauma. So you just keep this in your arsenal, another tool in your tool belt. And if you have any questions about it, please contact me, Linda Vitti, at Linda Vitti's Life Coaching and Counseling. And follow me on Instagram, Facebook, message me on Messenger. I will respond. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time. God bless.